Hello and welcome to the Vent Sesh. That's right. Every Friday, we're going to be doing this every Friday. I am going to be coming on to YouTube Live and talking with three different people about three different specific dating situations. We're going to get into it. All I want from you is to subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that little bell on the top, and you get an update anytime I go live here. I'm not going to be going live every 5 minutes. I'm not going to be on here like I'm on Twitter. This is going to be a very special event where we have people invited on. If you want to be on an episode of Vent Sesh and you want to talk about some of your issues, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. Title your email Vent Sesh. That means it will be specifically for this show. So jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. If you send an email and you want to be on Vent Sesh, talking your issues out with me, make it titled Vent Sesh. So I love that you're here. Welcome to YouTube land. If you're a new YouTube user, I'm new to this platform as well. That's kind of why we're doing this. I'm trying to get more people from the stuff that I do to come over here and do some fun stuff in a different way. So get subscribed to the channel. That's all you got to do. Hit that bell. You'll get a little email being like, hey, Papa JT, the Wizard of Ha, the Prince of Promos, he's going on. You'll get that email, and now you're involved. You're in, and it's something else and again, like most of the things that I do, it's a chance to take your brain, put it on the shelf, let me take the wheel. I'll drive you straight to Happy Land, okay? So all I want you to do, get going in those comments too. Let us know what you think. We're going to respond to comments. I want to hear from you and how you would, break down the situation. Very excited. Our first guest, Taryn. Come on, Taryn.
Hi. How's it going?
Taryn, how are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Living the COVID life here at home.
We talked a little bit before we started. You are at your parents' house.
Yes. Yep. At my parents'. I split my time between Boston and Cape Cod. So
that's great. I'm from outside of Boston. I know the Cape a little bit.
Yeah.
It was funny. Your mom popped in and I told you, it was like, it felt like she walked in on like the worst. She was like, oh okay. Like she had like the laundry in her hand.
Yeah. I had to shoo her out.
Yeah. So what do you do? What do you do for work?
I'm a tech consultant. So I work with clients, and that's the long and short of it. I'd give you my sales pitch, but it's like way too long. So
I love that you were like, I work with clients. Yeah. I'm done explaining this job.
Okay. I know the amount of times I have to try and explain what it is. It's just exhausting. So
well, don't worry. And I'm sure at home that doesn't make it any easier. Hearing my mom explain to other people what I do for a living, it may as well be nails on a chalkboard to me.
Yeah.
It is a tough thing. So listen, we're getting away from the point.
Okay.
Tell me, what's your problem? Vent to me. Give me the tea.
Okay. So nutshell, I met this guy about 6 weeks ago through an app. And we've been on 4 dates now. And there's been kind of a progression, a COVID, what's acceptable progression. First date was, masks on, no touching. We ended with an elbow bump. Very cool. Second date, no masks around each other, but around other people, masks on, everything's outdoors, we're socially distancing, blah, blah, blah. This is the date that he tells me his roommates are very, very, very strict about COVID, which I totally respect. And that's awesome. Safety.
That's kind of what my first question is going to be.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not here to judge. I'm not the government. So I'm not mandating people and what their dates should be. So where does it start at, hey, I want to go on a date, but we're staying. Are you both on board? Are you both mask on date people?
Yeah. So he's more strict than I am. We didn't really have that conversation before the first date. But I'm very much, go off of other people's comfort level. I'm not running around shoving my tongue down people's throats. So, I try and keep as safe as I can, but I also want to live my life and still go out and at least get outside and meet new people.
I get it. So you're following his lead, and his lead was, we're doing this date with a mask on, elbow bump.
Elbow bump.
You had a fun time.
Had a great time. So
Cool.
second date is more of the same, all outdoors. We got some tacos. We went to a park. At the end of the date, it was a hug, but he said that he wanted to kiss me, but could we settle for a hug? And I was like, yeah, sure, of course. At this point, second date, still figuring things out. Third date, we're both out of the city. We're on a trail walk, and it ends with like this overlook of the bay. It's sunset. It's a very like Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan moment unfolding. And so
Love it. I can
I'm
hear
like, all right.
closing time playing in the background. I love it.
Exactly. So I'm like, here it is, here it comes. But instead, he asked me how I think we should go forward with wanting to be intimate or physical when he's terrified to touch me, which interesting choice of words. And so
quote, I'm terrified to touch you.
I'm terrified to touch you. I said, I won't. Yeah, I'm not made of acid, so I think you're okay.
Well, it is funny because, there is I would think, and you can please disagree with me, but there is an element of like, is this the excuse or is this the reality?
Yeah, there's definitely an element of that when the word terrified and touch you are thrown in the same sentence. Very strong word. But I think it really is just him being unsure how to go about being physical, which I respect. And that's
Totally.
great. But so I didn't really know how to answer in the moment. So again, letting him take the lead, I was like, whenever you're comfortable, we can talk about it if that's something you want. And that was kind of the end of it. So last night, again, we had this nice moment. We played music in the park at like a riverside. It was lovely. And so I'm like, all right, tonight's the moment. We'll see if it happens. And same deal. And this time he had me put on a mask before hugging him goodbye. So it was a nice, awkward 2 minutes of me scrambling with that. So I guess my question.
This was last night.
This was last night. Yeah. So I got a little update to my email.
Yeah.
But otherwise, things are great. So I think my question is around the etiquette of COVID kissing and COVID.
So, what are you looking for from? I think it starts at what are you looking for, and to me, it sounds like you've gone on 4 dates and they sound very sweet and innocent.
Yeah. They are.
And they sound like you're having. Are you having fun?
I'm having a great time, but I do want that physical. See if we have that physical connection. I'm just getting mixed signals when he's telling me that he wants to kiss me. He just tested negative. I don't know if he's looking for me to get tested. And I don't want to push it too hard either because I don't want anyone to be uncomfortable with.
Sure.
It's a weird territory to navigate. So.
It's weird. It's the most 2020 situation that I've ever heard. Yeah. But I think we have to look bright side. And I do understand, that part of this might be that you're thinking, well, everything's great, but I don't even know if we have that sexual chemistry.
Right.
And you want to get, and that can be figured out via a kiss. A kiss is really... it seems like it's minimal, but it's not right.
Yeah.
I kind of I understand where you're coming from. I don't know. To me, you can only drive your boat. And I would and I'm not saying hey, fucking kiss me, dude, when you're ready. I don't think you have to you can do it classy, but it's saying hey, just to let you know, I'm game for moving this forward. And I think it's even because is he just worried about his roommates? Is that what he said? Does COVID come up a lot? Does infection rate come up a lot with him?
It does. Yeah. Numbers person for sure. I really do think it is the roommates are the driving force behind him wanting to be so hands off.
What do they have a job that's frontline worker? Do they have old parents that they're seeing all the time?
I don't know them well at all. I don't know them. So I think they both work from home and they don't really leave the apartment. So they're still taking a lot of precautions when they go out and things like that. And I respect that. I respect people's space. I have a roommate who, if I wanted to have somebody over, it would be a conversation we'd have to have. But as far as me going out and interacting with people, as long as I know they're being safe, we trust each other on that. So.
Are you touching each other during the date? Is there any type of hand holding, back touching?
No, nothing yet.
See, this is a problem because I understand what you're saying. Like the other thing is like you don't want to be 10 dates in with someone that is really more of a friend than a romantic interest.
Yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to add in is the way it was put about being terrified to touch me. It's like, is there a prospect of this happening at least in the future? Like or there's been no dropping of what it would take to be able to get to that point of being comfortable. So kind of left in the dark.
I put out a lot of stuff, as many people know. I'm putting out a lot of content. I'm not sure if I said this on a You Up podcast or if it was on last night's live You Up, but there was a hypothetical. We had a red flag deal breaker where it was I think it was last night's live You Up where we had a red flag deal breaker where the hypothetical was you're on a date and they surprise you with a COVID test. And this is exactly the issue you're having. Yeah. And I understand your question because when Jordana asked me, I was like, if a woman said to me, surprise COVID test, I'd be like, oh shit, she wants to make sure we can fuck. Mm-hmm. And that was my perspective.
Yeah, I think I'd be pumped. It would save me a trip to the doctor. So he's got one, bring it on,
Let's get it all done. I got an errand out of the way.
Exactly.
But Jordana brought up the point that the man saying that to the woman in the same way that you're saying, I'm terrified to touch you, is offensive. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to see if you're clean enough for me to get with. Like, I wouldn't take it that way if a woman said it to me, but I do understand how it's received differently, maybe from, like, just like you're saying with the terrified. I don't think he goes on the date if he wasn't sexually into you. Like, I don't think a lot of people go on dates to make a friend, or I don't think a lot of people go on fourth dates to make a friend. So I trust why people pause the clock. Cause we might go a little over. I don't want to hit our time. Pause the clock. I would trust from his end, he is going on these dates because he's interested in you. And also a COVID date is actually like, if you think of it, it's the highest level of, mental interaction.
Yeah, that's true.
So like, he is listening, he is coming, he is making the plan, he is talking with you. Like, and he is only, if at the end, you're having these awkward, fist bumps and elbow, whatever. Yeah. And it's like, so I would say the terrified thing, if you're wondering, does he want to hook up with you? I say yes.
Okay.
I don't think he goes on 4 dates because he doesn't.
Right.
If you're wondering if there's sexual chemistry, I would wonder that too. I think that's a piece of the pie. I think you can get to that bridge when you cross it. But right now you're having fun with someone on dates during a moment doing that. Everyone is kind of in the same position. So people are spending their time with people doing things they want to do. So I say at the shows, I did an outdoor show in Philly and I'm like, look at how nice this is. Like, you don't want to be here, but because you're forced to be here, it's kind of nice to be here.
Yeah.
So I think that the same goes for the date. You don't want to be on the date doing elbow bumps with a guy you're attracted to. But later on, if this works out, you will be happy you did the elbow bumps to get to where you're going.
That's a good point. I'd never thought of it that way, actually.
There's a positive way to look at it. Because to me, like, you're having fun on these dates. There's a lot of people out there that'd be like, you're going on dates and you're going to parks and you're having the Meg Ryan moment. Go fuck yourself, Taryn.
Yeah, that's very true.
But I would say to you, you have to act as if. And act as if means act as if it's a no-brainer to him. And to me, if I were him, I'm not going on a date with someone I don't want to make out with.
Right, especially now.
Especially now.
That's a good point.
Especially now with more than enough time and energy to swipe. So I would keep going. I would try and, dance my fingers over to his hand. Yes. Let's get some physical touch in here. Let's get a handhold. Like a little spider crawl over to his hand, a little touch of the back. I would open up the gates for him just to show, hey, I'm comfortable with this. Now you can pull on the string if you are.
All right. Yeah.
Taryn, do you feel helped? Is that okay?
I feel very helped. Maybe our next date, I'll suggest COVID tests together. So we'll go swab
Let's
each
get this
other's
out of the
noses.
way, and then we can French kiss.
Get real
Okay, good.
physical that way. Yeah.
Tell mom I said hello.
Will
Thank
do.
you so much, Taryn.
Thank you.
Listen, people, we're taking care of people, real problems, real issues. 2020. So listen, I would say right now, I want you to comment. How would you have handled that situation? Are there ways are you right now going, Jared, you're all wrong? Let me know. You're here watching. Jared, I would have told her to, touch his asshole and swipe his butt. I don't know. What's your idea? Comment. Let me know what you think. We're posting them up on the screen. Brandon, what do we think? We're doing good so far, right?
I think we're doing great. Thank you so much, Taryn. You had a great question, super relevant right now.
The most relevant, and also it's a dance. Yep. We got to figure out the moves. 2020 is a dance where we're all TikTokers and we're all just trying to learn the dance moves. So let's go to our next guest. Very excited. Allison, thank you for coming on.
Hey, Jared, how's it going?
How are you? Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. Where are you coming from?
I'm sitting in my condo in Toronto, Canada.
Toronto. Look at we have gone international with Sesh.
We have, yeah.
So what's the issue, Allison? Let's talk.
All right. So basically, I went on 2 dates with this guy. We met on an app back in August. Minimal texting throughout the entire time, maybe a text a day or so, sometimes a few days in between. And we finally got around to first date drinks in September, and goes pretty well from how I felt. And I think he probably felt the same way because he invited me up to his place afterwards. But I did turn him down because I told him I had to go back and finish some work. Not an excuse, true story. So we left that day saying, let's do this again soon. No kiss, just hugs that date. And then I asked him out again 2 weeks later, but he kind of blows me off. I'm kind of like, okay, but we continue texting, and I go on vacation for a week. So he suggests to meet up again when I get back.
I got to say, Allison, it's very funny that I've been saying that COVID is so different. Like every state is different. Like it's almost like we're like Europe. It's funny to hear Taryn be like, so we went on, we wore 7 masks. And then you're like, yeah, I've been on vacation. I'm sitting at the beach in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I love it. So you have the vacation, and then what happens?
Yep. So I go on this vacation, domestic, not international, if that makes a difference.
The beaches of New Brunswick.
Yeah. So second date happens. We go out for drinks again, and then I invite him up to my place after, hoping to take it a little further. And he comes up. So we're on my couch. We're talking. I'm trying to touch him a little bit to signal that you can make a move.
Yeah, let's get to shaking.
I'm down. I'm down for more touching. So I do that, and we're just talking, and 2 hours go by, and he doesn't make a move. So I'm thinking maybe, maybe he's not that into me. So he starts to leave. He's, puts his jacket back on. He's outside my apartment door, and then that's when he goes in for the kiss. So the next day,
you hadn't kissed yet. You spent 2 hours at your apartment, no kiss, just talk.
Well, at that point, we had spent 4 hours together that night. We did 2 hours at drinks and then 2 hours at my place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and then he goes in for the kiss, like right before he leaves, like the last minute before he leaves. Mm-hmm. So the next day, I sent a post-date text, and then he takes a day to respond back, which is normal for him at this point. He asked me how my day is going, and then I respond back that evening, and he doesn't respond back to me until maybe 4 days later, and he sends me this text. He says, "Hey, sorry, I totally missed replying. What did you end up making? Also, side note, I just went through some stuff recently and not sure I'm really ready for anything. Okay, if we just kind of keep it friendly. So
Okay.
to me, that's super confusing. The word friendly is pretty vague. Um, I feel like it could mean like he's trying to break up with me, or it could mean that he just wants to keep things casual. So I asked him to clarify what he means by friendly. And he says, I mean, like, I'm not really ready for something serious, which makes, which is like a little bit more detailed, but I'm still kind of confused if he's trying to pull the slow fade on me or if he is open and down for hanging out casually. Not really sure.
So what do you want before we get into anything? Like, Allison, what are you looking like? I understand we can go into like the recesses of his mind, but did you have fun on the first date? Are you having fun interacting with this person?
We have a lot in common, so I do enjoy our dates because we have a lot of things to talk about. And
but you've only had 2 dates and it's been since August.
Yeah.
So I understand. So because I think this happens to a lot of people where they're like, we have so much fun when we're together. And then it's like, you've been together 8 hours out of 3 months. So so we can't just look at the 8 hours. We have to look at, are you having fun with this person from August until October, whatever the fuck today is? And is this fun generally? And I'm asking you this question, but I'm asking like 1,000 other people the same question because you're not alone in this situation. It's like, because it's easy to be fun on a date, especially a first date. It's a lot harder to be, fun on the whole if you're only giving someone 8 hours out of 3 months.
I would say yes, just because I've been pretty busy the last few months. So I do like the fact that we don't text that much.
Okay.
Like I'm not someone who prefers to text all day every day. Like I feel like that's kind of suffocating. So I'll respond.
But are you getting? I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you getting out of? So okay, let's include the texting. Are you getting enjoyment out of the textual interactions you're having, in addition to the 8 hours?
I would definitely prefer in-person dates.
Okay. Or
hangouts.
But do you want casual with this guy? Like, would you?
I would be down for casual with this guy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I would say to you, it's interesting to me that you go on a first date, he invites you up, and then you say no. Okay. Then you go on the second date, you invite him up. He again is kind of stiff-arming the idea of getting physical. Then he texts you, hey, I want to keep this friendly, which to me, I agree with you, sounds like he is looking for casual. But I think he's trying to figure out what you want out of casual. Because to me, when someone says no, when someone's like, hey, first date, let's hook up.
Yeah.
And then you say no, you're setting a standard. You're going, well, I don't just go home. Whether it was an excuse or not, and you say it wasn't, that's fine. But I'm saying, when you don't hook up after the first date, this guy now has to make a decision. Well, I have to go on date to have casual. And then he goes on the second date and he's not sure if this means if you guys get like a little bit close on that date, then it's like, oh, now I've agreed to her version of casual. I'm not sure if I'm ready to go over that hump. That's the only reason I could see that his change would be so much. It's not an attraction thing. It's not it's a do I want responsibility thing. And this is the miscommunication, I think, my personal opinion, is that he thinks you want a more he thinks you want him to make you a responsibility more than maybe you're looking for.
Okay.
Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
Like, I think he doesn't know that you, like, him hearing you be like, yeah, I just want to like be casual and have fun. Like, I don't know if he'll come back, because some people just want options. Like when he says, I want to be friendly, that is him being like, I want to be able to call on you when I have the time for you.
Okay, so can I pull that move on him? And
Yeah.
would he be receptive?
I don't know. I can say, because this is the ego of a man. Every man thinks every woman's going to fall in love with them and then want to take up all of their time. That's not right. That is an egotistical narcissism that exists in a lot of men. So if I were you, I would text him right now. I would be like, hey, I'm not going to play this. Like, I would be a little bit more direct. I think you're being I think right now you guys are so vague with each other. Hey, I'm down to hang out and go get drinks and be a little bit more casual. But the whole friends thing, I'm not looking for more friends. Like, I think there's a way to say it that is like, hey, like, even going back on my own advice, I would even say, you go out with a couple friends, you send them a text being like, I'm out right now, come over and hang out. That tells them I'm looking for casual. But you have to ask him for the version of casual you want. That would be what I would think. I would be like, hey, I'm out. I've had a couple drinks with friends. Are you out right now? That lets him know that you are, like, I'll call on you when I'm ready for you.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
That makes sense. I think that would be a little bit hard to do in this COVID world.
Sure. But I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not going to tell anyone what their version of COVID is. Like, you and him might hit off on that level where he goes, yeah, I don't really care either. I'm going to come over, or you don't. I'm just saying, this is, if you have to decide on what your version of casual is. Your version of casual might be, I want to go on a date and then I'd hook up, or I don't want to go. I don't need dates at all. I think there's a miscommunication of what the casual is. When he says friendly, I don't buy that for a second.
So he means casual.
He means casual to me.
Okay. Okay.
But but casual, again, we're out of time. I just want to make sure casual means different to everybody. So, like, even right now, my version of what I think casual is different than yours, and that's okay. But it's you have to find a common ground, because your version of casual, if he says no to that could feel really badly. I've been put in that position where I'm like, yeah, let's be casual. And then it's like, well, when do we go on that date? And I'm like, whoa, casual, means something. And then it becomes, now you're not living up to everyone's expectations, and that's harder.
Okay. I will take your advice.
That's just, and listen, if you're in the comments section, this is a tough one, because I can't tell you what he's thinking. All I can tell you is that you said you want casual, and you have someone who is still on the line. So why don't you make him your version of casual instead of, like, waiting for him to text you?
Okay. That's good advice.
Allison, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jared.
Listen, people, these aren't easy. Listen, someone wrote in, this has happened to me before. It happens to everybody. This is the thing is, if you want a label and they want vague, it's going to be confusing every single time. And casual is a label. Dylan just wrote, it's a waste of time. You're beautiful and cool and find someone who's into you 100%. I'm with Dylan. I think when two people are on board for casual, they kind of click into that way easier. You don't want to dance around the ego of it all. And I think that's kind of what Allison's dealing with, is this guy who thinks that everyone falls in love with him. I think there's an element of that. But are we having fun, people? Disagree with me in the comments. Agree with me. Please agree with me. No, but disagree with me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I want to hear from you. Okay? And listen, if you're watching this after we shot it live, let us know what you think. And if you're here on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell. It's up here somewhere. Where's the bell? Hit the bell. Do that. We got one more guest. Let's go to her. Kelly, come on on.
Hi.
Hello,
how
Kelly.
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Good.
Where are you coming from?
Minneapolis, Minnesota, where it is still snowing. So
It's snowing there. I saw that the other day. Yeah. A friend of mine is doing shows there. Akash Singh is there this weekend.
Oh,
and
nice.
And he was like, it's snowing. And I was like, it blew my mind.
Yep. Yeah, it's been snowing for 3 days, the past 3 days. Yep.
Oy. I mean, I love Minneapolis, but if you're going to be in any town with snow, you guys have created kind of like a winter. There's things to do when it snows.
So that's what I've heard, but I actually just moved here I just moved here in June. So
congratulations! So what brought you to Minneapolis?
My job. Yeah.
Target?
No, I wish. No, I am an auditor, so not that exciting. But
so where did you move from?
So I actually moved back from Europe. I was living there for 2 years, and then before that, I was in Wisconsin. But yeah.
So you know the Midwest lifestyle, but Europe, that's very cool. Now, listen, someone just wrote dating in Minnesota is hard. Can't wait to hear this. So, here's what I know about Minnesota. I know that they are a different type of person. There's such a thing called Minnesota nice. And if you could explain to the people watching right now the meaning of Minnesota nice, because I have friends who move there from out of town and they're not Minnesota, originals. They didn't grow up there. So I know it's very hard to move there from somewhere else. Can you explain what Minnesota nice is?
Yes, I will try to explain without offending anyone. So, like a lot of people,
they're not going to tell you if it offended them anyway. So.
That's true. A lot of people that like live in Minnesota like grew up here, and even if they went to like college somewhere else, they come back to their hometown and kind of like fall in with the same group of people. So, like if you're not from Minnesota and you move here, like everyone seems like very nice. Like they ask you like how you're doing, but it's almost like a passive nice because you're not going to be included in their like in a lot of their activities and their like group of friends. Like it's kind of hard to like break the ice, which is kind of funny because it's so icy here. Yeah, exactly.
They won't let you in. Is kind of, you always kind of feel like you're being stiff-armed a little bit. And I've heard that you're not saying anything offensive because it's not new.
No.
So what is your dating situation? Let's hear it.
So it actually doesn't have to do with Minnesota nice. But I mean, this guy seems nice, but we'll see. So I moved to Minneapolis in June, and like I have a couple friends here, but like with COVID and everything, like it's been kind of hard to like meet people. And like I'm not really one for dating apps. Like I'd much prefer to like meet someone. I have been on them, but I prefer to like meet someone in person. So I actually ended up meeting a guy like through one of my friends over Labor Day weekend. Like we went to a brewery and ended up like meeting up with one of his friends. And
you went where? I missed something.
We went to a brewery over Labor Day weekend. Yeah. So it was like my friend from college, and then he invited a couple of people he knew. So new people. And I ended up meeting one of his friends. We hit it off like that night. We were basically like inseparable. Like I went back to his apartment. I was there till like 3 a.m. Like we hooked up, but we like spent the whole night like talking too. And then after that, like he got his phone number and like I went home, and pretty much like after that, like we've been talking all day, every day. Like it's like 24/7. Like we hang out a couple times a week. Like we've been going on as many dates as like you can in COVID because there's not a lot to do, especially like now that it's snowing. That kind of like limits the outdoor options here. But like I'm sleeping over there a couple times a week. Like we're just like getting along really well. And I've like brought this up to my friends a couple times, like when would be the best time to like DTR with this guy? Because like I don't know what we're doing. Yeah, right. Because I don't know what we're doing. I mean, it feels like we're dating, and it's only been like I've known him for like 2 months, but even in those 2 months, like he went on like a 2-week trip to California. Like I was gone for a week, and like after every time, like we just like we're still talking the whole time. We pick up like right where we left off. Like it's totally normal. So to me, it like feels like we're dating or like heading in that direction, but it's only been 2 months. So I don't know if I should like bring it up. I don't know how to approach the subject. Like I don't know what to do.
So I think this conversation gets shrouded in negativity a lot of times.
Yeah.
And the reason it's because you feel like, oh, I'm dragging this person into a relationship, which no one wants to do.
Yeah.
You said a few things that I'll highlight. You went to the friends. It's only been 2 months.
Yeah.
There's no should. You have to get rid of should, because, some people get married after 15 minutes of meeting. I'm not saying,
Right.
I'm not bringing up an extreme just to bring it up. I'm saying every scenario is possible. So the idea of should it be 2 months? Who the fuck am I to tell you how long?
Right.
I would say to you, I would think of what you've already said to me, this is a relationship. To me, we're dating, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't, there's a point where it doesn't matter what the other person thinks, because, what do you get with a relationship? It would be my question. What comes with it? What comes with the price of purchase?
Right. I mean, my friends have asked
that's
me
different
similar.
for everybody. What is your price of, what comes with we're in a relationship day one? What comes with that? What do you think?
It's kind of cliche, but almost like the title, because I feel like I've been in a lot of situationships before where I'm doing this same thing. We're sleeping together, hanging out all the time. Neither of us are seeing anyone else, but the other person will not commit and put a label on it. So to me, I guess those weren't necessary. I mean, they were relationships, but not really, because I couldn't get the other person to label it. So as cliche as it is, I would like the label and commitment. That to me is when the relationship starts, no matter.
So this kind of goes back to the whole negativity part that I think that is kind of hurts this conversation. I think there's a positive way to have this conversation that isn't an ultimatum and the way I would do it. And I would say, I'm in a relationship with you. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but hey, I just want to talk with you. I'm having the best time with you. I'm enjoying myself. I feel like we're connecting. I'm loving getting to know you. I am currently in a relationship with you. So when you say that actually puts him in a position of, no, I'm not. Okay, well, if you're not, then I have to reassess and I have to back away. I think every relationship is a negotiation where both people are willing to get up from the table. And when you say, I'm in a relationship with you, that's not saying I need this and I need this and I need you to agree to it now. It's saying, I'm loving how we're having a blast. I'm in a relationship with you. And what that means for me is that I'm not dating other people. I'm not on a dating app. And I expect to see you a couple times a week.
Okay.
Even smaller than that. And I expect my text for you to get back to my text within a reasonable amount of times, or at least give me an excuse that makes sense. That, again, when we get into this define the relationship talk, I think the reason a lot of people push off and do the thing where they're we're exclusive but not in a relationship is because they're afraid of a ghost. They don't even know what they're afraid of. They just don't want they think, oh my God, that means I got to have a mortgage and I got to have kids because it's meant that to me a lot of times. I've been oh my God, that means I got to do all these things, when it's really, you don't have to do anything. You just have to respect me in the way that I'm looking to be with a breakup. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
If it comes to that point, I'm just saying, but you have to be willing to say that and go, hey, it sucks if I have to lose you, but I'm just letting you know because I don't want to be delusional a month from now when you're oh, when I see a dating app come up on your phone and now you're living in the small fine print of a contract that we never been. To me, you two have a unspoken contract.
Right?
If you just disappeared for 2 weeks and then he was hey, where the fuck have you been?
Yeah.
It'd be weird.
Yeah.
That's to me, that's a relationship. I don't think that's, so I think you have to define you're in a relationship.
Okay.
It's not define our relationship. Hey, I'm in a relationship with you. And also it's a talk. I'm not saying it's not a talk. So hey, This has been great. I love going to your place. I'd like a couple more dates, but, not going to beg.
Yeah.
But I just want to let you know I'm in a relationship with you, and I would expect, and if you have an issue with that, I would take it up with management. It's going to be, so to me, that's a more positive way to go about it, that you shouldn't be sitting in the land of should. The land of should is, well, it's been 2 months. It doesn't matter. His response to you, that doesn't even make sense. Well, it's only been 2 months. Yeah, but we sleep together twice a week. My parents were together 2 months and hadn't touched each other's elbows. They're in Taryn's situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I think that's a positive way to go about it. And
okay,
if he's not on the same page, then you're dating a liar.
Right.
Because all that time, all the actions he's done are, and guys do this. I understand. Like, I've done that where
it's happened to me before. So
guys, the problem is guys, and I've said this a few times in the last couple months on the podcast, but a lot of guys pursue you for physical in the same way that they would pursue you for mental. And that's confusing, because then you go, because then he sounds ridiculous. He's like, well, I told you all my insecurities, and I told you about my family because I was trying to fuck. And you're like, what?
Right.
That makes no sense. So yeah. I think you owning it is actually also, from a confidence standpoint, that's just confident, hot, and you'll be better off for it in the future.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think you have a boyfriend, Kelly.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Listen, if you're in the comments, let us know what you think. Disagree with me, agree with me. Kelly, this was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Listen, people, that's our event sesh. We're going to do these Fridays, 3 o'clock Eastern time, 12 o'clock Pacific. If you want your dating question discussed on this show, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. Title the email Vent Sesh, and we'll get you on the show. We'll send out Brandon. You there?
I'm here, Jared.
We did it. Another win for us. We solved dating another day.
You had some great advice there. I hope the people at home can take something away from this.
I hope so too. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell. Check out the J Train podcast or the U Up podcast or my Instagram. I'm looking to make it on YouTube. So I want you guys to get involved, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you love and hate. Listen, I'm here. I'm ready for your Yelp reviews. Let's do it. But thank you to all the guests that came on. Taryn, Allison, Kelly, you guys were fantastic, open, honest, vulnerable. Love it. Thank you. We'll be back next week. Boom.